This is In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, and we're talking about specific position groups. Once they cut down to the 53-man roster now, it's still being massaged and tweaked a little bit, but the 46-man roster for game day is probably pretty much set. We're going to talk defensive line right now, and last year it was interior defensive line get decimated by injury. This year, in the early stages of 2021, edge rushers, man. It's almost like a curse to be an edge rush guy with the Cincinnati Bengals. Joseph Osai, third-round pick, done for the year with a meniscus tear. That's unfortunate because he's got some huge potential. He would have been a big factor coming off the edge. Kareem has been put on recall injury reserve. He's going to be out the first 3 games of the season with a shoulder injury, a labrum injury to his shoulder. So he'll be back, but they're going to be without his services on the edge. So it's been a tough training camp for the Cincinnati Bengals in that regard. Wyatt Hubbard, who they drafted in the 7th round, and they thought he had some potential as an edge rusher as well out of Kansas State. I mean, he never even made it to training camp. He tore a pectoral muscle. He's on the non-football injury list. He can come back after 6 games if, in fact, he's ready to come back. So they've got guys injured, some at various stages, some for the season, some after 6 weeks, some after 3 weeks. But bottom line is it's walking wounded at edge rush position for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's talk about the guys that will be available to him. Sam Hubbard. What can you say about Sam Hubbard? The biggest thing to me about Sam Hubbard is he empties the effort bucket every single snap. He plays every single snap like it's the only snap and the last snap of the football game. Plays with his hair on fire. And that's just an unbelievable attribute to have. As a teammate and as a coach, you can count on Sam Hubbard to give you everything he's got. And Sam, as a result of that, will make plays. He's going to basically outwork people. He's going to sustain his level of performance at the very highest level he possibly can every single snap of a football game. And I can tell you that can wear opponents down. It can wear them down mentally. It's like, man, is this guy ever going to get tired? Is he ever going to slow down? Is he ever going to take a play off? Is he ever going to do whatever the case may be? I mean, Sam Hubbard plays hard every single snap. Same can be said for his compatriot, the other H, Hendrickson. Hubbard and Hendrickson, the H boys on the edge. Trey Hendrickson is exactly that type of player. Had 13.5 sacks last year with the New Orleans Saints. And he comes off the edge with reckless abandon. There's no question about it. And both he and Sam Hubbard set an edge in the running game and the pass and pass rush. And they're equally important. They're both vitally important. You don't want to give up the edge on a consistent basis and be soft on the edge and let people get an outside running game going against you. And the H boys do a pretty good job of making sure that they're going to either turn it back inside or make it bounce to the perimeter, and then it's up to the corners or safety, whoever's got run support on the very outside of the defensive formation to do their job. But I feel very confident that Hendrickson and Hubbard are going to set a strong edge in the running game, and they're going to be coming off the edge in the passing game, making life miserable for quarterbacks. They're going to make the quarterback throw the ball too early, which could lead to deflections and interceptions. So they'll be involved in strip sacks. They'll be involved in a lot of big plays, I think, for the defense this season. So those 2 guys on the edge is a big plus. Darius Hodge, where would they be without Darius Hodge at this point because of all these injuries? Undrafted college free agent out of Marshall, a linebacker. The Bengals are going to use him as a stand-up linebacker, as a stack linebacker. But he showed in pass rush drills when he was a blitzing linebacker, he had some innate abilities, natural instincts to rush the passer. And he basically had body lean. He had leverage. He had good hands. He had multiple moves. So Darius Hodge made this football team for his ability to pressure the quarterback. And hopefully he'll be able to give some snaps to Darren Simmons on special teams. But his big thing is going to be 12 to 15 snaps a game as a rotational edge pass rusher, putting heat on the opposing quarterback. That's what Darius Hodge is all about. What a story he is as a college free agent making the football team. Let's talk about Cam Sample. Cam Sample's got position versatility. They got him out of Tulane, drafted him out of Tulane. He can rush as a 3 technique on the outside shoulder of the guard as a defensive tackle in nickel pass rush, as well as a defensive end coming off the edge. And I think because of injury, they're probably going to be using him more off the edge than as an interior pass rusher. In my mind, when they traded for B.J. Hill as a 3 technique interior pass rusher, that told me that Cam Sample, because of these injuries, is going to have to give them more snaps out there as an edge rusher potentially. But it's not like he can't pass rush inside at that 3 technique. And the newest signee, Wyatt Ray, 6'3", 255-pounder, initially out of Boston College. He made Cleveland's practice squad. He's been with the Houston Texans practice squad, Buffalo Bills, the Jets, Tennessee Titans. In a very short time frame, he's made a good circuit around the National Football League. He has played in 4 games and gotten a quarterback sack in the 4 games that he did play. So the Bengals liked his tape. They liked his explosiveness. They liked his ability to set an edge in the running game and the pass. So let's see what Wyatt Ray looks like. He's going to get an opportunity to show himself because of the injury. They're kind of rebuilding the back edge of the edge rush pass machine. Let's go inside. Talk about B.J. Hill, Billy Price trade, B.J. Hill acquisition in that trade from the New York Giants. 306'3", 310-pounder who is in his 3rd year in the National Football League. He's got 116 tackles, 7.5 sacks, broken up 3 passes. I think he can play anywhere from a 1 technique, which is shading the center, to a 5 technique, which is the outside shoulder of the guard, and anywhere in between. A 5 technique outside shoulder of the tackle. So he can play anywhere, rush anywhere. And he's shown that type of position versatility. And I do think they're going to use him as an inside pass rusher, getting up the football field, raising some havoc. And he's the newest acquisition in the interior defensive line. Larry Ogunjobi, that they got in free agency from the Cleveland Browns. The biggest reason they picked him up is they couldn't block him. Ogunjobi gave them hell last year as an interior pass rusher for the Cleveland Browns. So Larry Ogunjobi is a force to be reckoned with. He can play nose up, head up on the center, or he can play all the way to the outside shoulder of the guard as well. So he's shown an ability to take people on 2 gap, take people on right down the middle and control 2 gaps, or hit 1 gap and penetrate, disrupt, put a big bend in the defensive line, invert in the offensive line, I should say, invert it a little bit. So I'm very anxious to see him get unleashed a little bit. DJ Reader, coming back from that quad injury. He was a big free agent signing the year before and got hurt in the early stages of the season, was playing very, very well. DJ Reader is an explosive guy, very big inside. And that's the thing I think that the Bengals defensively up front, they're built the way you need to be built in today's National Football League. They're very beefy up front, very thick and big in the middle. And then on the edge, they've got that athleticism. So, you have to be able to hold the fort inside and then allow your edge guys to set an edge in the running game coming up the football field or rush the quarterback. And they're built very, very thick and big inside. In the AFC North, the way these teams can run the football, Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens in particular, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers with Najee Harris, they're going to try to run the football. You need to be big inside. And they feel like they can compete inside with that size. Josh Tupou, who decided to opt out last year, he gives them a big body, big mass inside. He had a great training camp. Josh was playing at as high a level as I've seen him play. So he's going to be a rotational defensive tackle inside, along with Tyler Shelvin, the rookie out of LSU. This guy's a beast, 355-pound guy that's big inside, big, thick guy that like Josh and Tyler Shelvin. These are 2 massive human beings to be able to have in your defensive tackle rotation. So when you look at it, Cincinnati Bengals are built the right way inside. They have had some injuries on the edge. They're trying to fortify and bounce back from those injuries, and we'll see how they perform September 12th against the Minnesota Vikings, because they got Kirk Cousins throwing it, they got Dalvin Cook running it. Pretty good offensive football team.
Hi, Dave Lapham here. Have you heard about In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics? Catch new episodes from the world of sports and broadcasting, Search for In the Trenches with Dave Lapham on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.